All right, so we're on Excel Project 2, Part 2, where we've done a spreadsheet. We're going to be hopefully not terribly deep, but a little deeper into the formatting part of this. We've done all the formulas, and we'll review some of that. A new concept called conditional formatting. We let Excel do some formulas for us. We're going to let Excel do some formatting for us based on a little condition that we can apply and figure out how to get Excel to do that work for us. All right, so let's get started. This is where we left off last time. We had numbers entered, Clipboard Engineering, some salary report. We did lots of formulas. Control tilde lets me see all my formulas that I've entered. We entered all these numbers. Excel is doing all the other work, and Control tilde shows me the results of those formulas. We're going to make it look something like this. Now, it doesn't look super different. The title is centered and the subtitle centered. We're going to put a little shading around that this time, a little fancier formatting. A similar heading style, not heading 1, across the top. These are left about the same. We are centering these numbers. Here's where conditional formatting is going to be coming in. Anyone that's worked over a certain number of hours, we're going to automatically turn purple using Excel, letting Excel do it. And the regular number format we've seen before, comma format or currency format, with a slight variation. It's not exactly what we've seen, accounting format. We're going to learn how we can control the formatting a little more detail. And we're not only controlling the number format, we do actually format the dates a certain way. So let's get going on that. It's going to be easy, learning a little bit more about formatting. So we'll start, first of all, one thing we can do, although not many people really care about this so much, you can, like you did with PowerPoint and with Word, we can change our theme. That is done over on the Page Layout tab. We can actually change our color scheme and our theme, which is a set of colors, fonts, and effects. So we're going to go choose a theme called Gallery. Can you find Gallery in there? I see it in the third from the left on the top row, Gallery. If you don't find Gallery up there, you'll find it down here. It looks like they're alphabetized down below. So most recently used ones, here's Gallery here, and I click on Gallery, and you see as I hover over different things, I get the font changing. That's what you'll see the most. If I'm viewing something that had color, I might see the color table change as well. So let's choose the Gallery theme, and since I was hovering over the email addresses, I didn't see that since that email, remember that had a color assigned to it from the flash fill, it gets a different color because the theme changes my color table. And if I ever want to change my color table only, I can always go here and choose a different color table. Can I tell what color table is being used? Sometimes you can barely tell what color table is being used, and I can't really tell there. But you could change your color table. But that's what a theme does underneath Page Layout. I don't see that very much out in the professional world. The ones that I've seen, not huge number. Usually when you're in Excel, you're more worried about the numbers coming out right. But let's go through merging and centering, dragging through from clipboard all the way out to row K, or column K. And we're going to put that in title format. We can merge and center first or merge and center later. I'm gonna go ahead and merge and center first, and then put it in title format under cell style. Oh, just drag through. Just select through all the way out to K, and then merge and center right there. And then cell style of title. Where'd title go? There it is, title. And same thing with salary report, merge and center across. and put that in cell style title as well. Now we can decrease the font size of salary because that is a subtitle. We'll go down from 18. In the book they go down to 16. Not a big change. And before we leave that, I think we're going to shade that just for a little practice at more formatting by selecting through both of them now, clicking and dragging through both now that they're treated now as one cell apiece. I can select through both of them and now fill them up here with a fill color of a light gray. See how my color table is different than it used to be because the theme changes that color table. Remember, if I don't want it ever changing, I can choose a standard color. We'll choose a light indigo. It looks like gray to me, but they call it indigo. And I think they're going to put a border around that as well. So we're going to choose a border here under borders, and let's choose a thick outside border. No, just outside border, not a thick outside border. Just an outside border, a very mild border. You can hardly tell it's there. If you click off of it, you just barely see a little outline around there. So select it through, fill, and then a border with that one. Easy formatting, just a little extra beyond just a simple title style. Yes?
What cell style did you use?
I chose cell style of title. Cell style, title.
Okay.
For both of them. Okay. Now, let's see what we're going to do next. The column headings, selecting through A3 all the way out to K3. We chose A1 before, or heading 1. We're going to choose a cell style of those to be a heading 3 this time. Heading 1 is a large font. Heading 2 gets a little smaller. Heading 3 is a good font size. And it does apply the underline. Heading 3, we'll choose for that. And now down in the total row down here in row 13, we're going to drag through that one. And because we would like our underlining to go all the way out to the edge, we're even choosing the higher date even though there's nothing there, just so it extends to the entire width of our table. And we're going to put that in cell style of total. It bolds the numbers but doesn't put them in good accounting format with just 2 decimals. We'll be doing that just shortly here. So little by little, just reviewing. Mostly this we've done before. Now we're going to do a little more details here in these dates. We're going to learn a little bit, getting deeper into the formatting by playing with the higher dates. Let's select through them, select through the higher dates. And we're going to apply a particular style. We don't find it here. We have to go down into this little extra number format dialog. This gets us the deeper details of what we can do in number formatting, or in this case, date formatting. Look at all the possibilities of my formatting of a date. By default, it's just this plain date style. We can choose a different style, such as a shorter year instead of the 4-digit year. And I click on that one. I think that's the one. Yeah, that's the one they want. I click on that, and I sort of have a sample there. Until I click OK, I won't see it apply here. So let's click OK and see what happens. Now it's shortened all my dates. Didn't change what was actually typed. Notice when I click on the cell, it shows all 4 digits up there, but down here in the display, it's showing me only the 2-digit year. And while we're here, let me do a little bit of explanation here. I'm going to come here to a cell all by itself. When I'm first typing, notice the general style is shown here. If I type something that looks like a date in this cell, like 11/11/2025, Veterans Day, when I hit enter and I come back to that cell, look at Excel now is automatically treating that as a date because it looked like a date to Excel. A date, Excel will automatically assign a format based on what it sees you type. And sometimes that can be very irritating because you didn't mean for it to turning it into a date. You wanted to treat it as something general, but yet it thought, oh, you must be typing a date. I will display a date there. So Excel is changing what it thinks the format is when you start typing sometimes. So normally it treats everything as general, but because we type dates in here, it recognizes it as dates. I come here, I can say, yes, since you recognize it as a date, I would also like it to be formatted in some other way. But notice if I said, I didn't want that to be a date, I wanted to have you treat that as a number, I could say, display that as a number, and it'll display it as what it thinks that date should be as a number, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's the number represented in Excel for that particular date of September 5th, 2010. So just keep that in mind. The formatting can be confusing. It's like, wait a minute, why did you change that, Excel? Well, check your formatting. It'll be doing some of that automatically for you. All right, now we're going to go back to the cell further to the left here, the dependent cell or column. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. We would like these numbers to be centered in the cell. It's being treated as a general number. I can select through all these cells all the way down from here down to here, and we would like those to be centered. The way to center them is to simply come over here on the Home tab and choose Center those cells. Now I would like to do one more thing as well. They don't do this in the book, but this averages way too many decimal points. Let's decrease the number of decimals on that. I'm going to click on this guy right here, decrease the number of decimals. Let's decrease that down to 2. I can adjust how many decimals get displayed, even though the average will calculate it out very accurately. I want to decrease it down to 2 decimals. Beyond 2 decimals, it's not interesting, and it's taking up a lot of space. The word dependence takes up space. I have to increase my column width just for that. So I decrease the number of decimals on that. Now we're going back to some of the things we've done before. We want to put some rows back into our normal accounting format. Okay? So we're first going to put everything in comma format all the way from here down to here. Not the tax percent yet. We're leaving that alone. Here down to here we're going to put in comma format as well as this one. So I'm going to control select that one. And I can put comma format all at once. Now you could do it one section at a time. Comma format automatically lines them up nicely. Don't worry that you get pound signs there. Just double click on that row column, that column border, and it will auto fit. We would though like to put these top numbers, not the tax percent, the net pay, control click, the totals, control click and drag, and the net pay here, control click, and we want those to be in accounting format with the $ in front of it. All right. Oh, and net pay turn into pounds, fit that. Now it's looking already nicer for my accountants. The tax percent is still a little wacky. We're going to fix that in a minute. So accounting format on those, total format, and accounting format on those numbers. And now let's bold some of these titles, row headings. Let's bold these 3, select through those, and Control B will bold those. It's already looking more professional. I'm thinking these hire dates would look nice centered. Let's center those hire dates. I think that looks better. Looking pretty good so far. We've adjusted some numbers already. Now let's go back to that accounting format, and we're going to show how we can and control that a little bit more. Make sure I got the right cell selected. E14 to H16. These numbers down here, E14 to H16. And these numbers, control drag through those. We would like to apply a special formatting to these. They're in accounting format right now, but we want to put them in a slightly different format that's not available on just these choices. Remember where I want to go. If I can't choose one of these, what do? I choose the little extra guy. Let's get more details. And here, there's another format they'd like to introduce to us called the currency format. Just to show you that it's similar to the accounting format. Let's choose currency format. Here I have the choice, and often you'll see this in accounting tables, that instead of showing a negative sign in front of something, they show it in parentheses. That's just an accounting thing. I remember when I first came across that, it was like, who made that up? Why would you not just use negative signs like I've been doing all my life in math? No, some accounting people like parentheses instead of negatives. Now that I choose OK, I can also choose a symbol to place to the left of those numbers. By default, the currency does not put the dollar sign there. I can say show currency and show the type of currency as a symbol. Now it shows it in parentheses with the currency around it if it were happen to be negative. And I click OK. Oh, and what this also means is it won't turn red. It will only show negative in parentheses in the same color. You could choose parentheses and color it red if it went negative. And I click OK. Now, of course, none of the numbers went negative, so you don't see the parentheses. But you see how the currency symbol now is not the same as accounting format. It's pinned right next to the number. Just to show you that that's how it can be done in the extra formatting available. Now, most often, you're probably just going to choose the standard accounting format. But occasionally, you may run across that, and you'll have an idea, oh, it's hiding up there in that special currency format. Now it's time to fix this column of percents. Right now, they are long details. We could just decrease that to 2 decimal using our decreased decimal here. But let's fix them all by selecting through all the percentages. And it looks like we are doing this. I forgot what happened here. Was this might become our average percent. We'll come back and fix that one. Let's put these, the easiest thing to do, if you know it's a percent, a number that you want to display in percent, the most obvious thing to do, or the easiest thing, just click on that. That puts it in the standard percent format. I click that, and I get standard percent format with nothing after the decimal point. We would like to increase the number of decimal points by this little guy right here, increase decimal. Often if you have a number that you want is more accurate than a single digit, maybe you want to see some decimal points or numbers after decimal point. We'll go 2 numbers after decimal point, increasing the accuracy. Now I believe this number is supposed to be the average percent. So I've already put it in percent format. Let's see if average will give me the average of the percents above. So let's come up here and choose average. It figures out the right numbers to give me an average of. I hit enter. It should give me, if the formatting is right, the average will calculate a very accurate number, but it will only display it in 2 decimals. Yeah. Yeah, it's in the totals row. Even though it's in the totals row, it's the average of the percents, because adding up percentages doesn't make sense. So it's in, but yeah, they threw it in the totals row, which to me doesn't make sense, but that's something they wanted to do in the book. If I was going to have it be totals, I would have everything that were a total, but that one is a special one. So now we're getting all the percentages coming out in the right format. Notice we haven't done changing of any formulas. Mathematically, the numbers are still the same in all the cells. All we're doing is changing the display of the numbers. And that's a big thing about Excel, is the display of it does not change the mathematical value of it. Even if I change it into treating it as a date, mathematically it is still a number in Excel's memory, and all the other math around it will be correct. So the format, just displaying as a date, doesn't make any sense, December 20th, 1904, but mathematically that's the number. Okay, now comes a major concept, conditional formatting. And this is very common in accounting sheets. If numbers go negative, you want things to show red, because usually negative is bad in totals. So we would like to practice that with hours worked. We're going to select through all the hours worked for everybody, and we want to highlight anyone who's worked extra hours to have their hours highlighted. Now here's how it's done. Watch carefully. We'll go through a couple times. Conditional formatting for those cells. I click on this and I come right down to build my own rule. These other ones are there just to give you some built-in ones. We want to learn how to build our own rather than use things that are built in that have some interesting things built in. We're going to make our own new rule. Okay, so we're going to come out here, do a new rule, and we're going to jump right to the second choice, cells that contain. Basically what that means is we're going to base the formatting of it based on something that's in the cell. Okay, cells that contain. And what's the rule going to be? The cell value is going to be greater than, changes to a greater than, and the number we want it to format based on it being greater than a number of, I think he typed in, 70. We're typing 70 in. Anyone that has a hours worked greater than 70, now we decide what the format's going to be if this condition is met. So we're saying any cell of these that has a number greater than 70, let's format it by clicking now the Format button. And now I can decide what format those cells are going to have. And the format we're going to choose is a shading. So we're going to go with a fill. We're going to change the, we're going to change the font to a white font. And of course you don't see anything here because white on white is invisible. And we're going to then change the fill to a dark indigo right there. Now we'll see the fill is that. The font is white. I guess I won't see the effect until I click OK. And then it shows over here, white font on a purple fill. Let me do that again. Format, font, white, color. Choosing the font tab, white, color. Fill of dark indigo. Third from the right. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yep. We'll go fix that. You are correct. I did the accounting format wrong in that. And I click OK. And now here's the format that it's going to apply to a cell value greater than 70. I click OK. And look at that. Automatically, anyone that worked more than 70 hours got shaded purple. And let's fix that. You're correct. These should not be in counting format. Let's just put those back in comma format, because we're not talking about dollars there. Now, just for practice here, let's do it again just for practice. Suppose I want to say, I've been noticing people are putting in typos when they enter numbers. They're hitting too many digits. Let's add another conditional formatting by adding another rule. Let's add another new rule. And let's choose the same kind of thing, cells that contain. And let's say that they have typed in a bad number. Let's say a number greater than 120. We know no one will ever work 120. If they have type 120, we know that that's an error. Let's change that format to be a fill of red if they ever, I'm going to make it more dramatic. Let's make it a fill of yellow if they ever accidentally type more than 120 hours there. And I click OK. And I click OK. We'll leave the font black. Of course, nothing changes because nothing has been typed more than 120. Let's just test. If I accidentally type 600 instead of 60 for Ben, it'll automatically colored yellow, and anyone entering will realize, oh, wait a minute, it turned yellow. I must have done something wrong. They could come and correct that automatically. So that's, you can have multiple rules applied to cells. Now, just for a little bit of more exploration of there, I can go down here to Manage Rules, and I can see both of those rules sitting there. That if the cell is greater than 120, I'll get a yellow background. If it's greater than 70, it'll get a purple background. And lots of options there in the more advanced. But you can actually have multiple rules to apply to cells. Such as, it goes green if it's a positive number, it goes red if it's a negative number. You could have both rules apply there. And you can edit the rule if you had something wrong with it, or delete it if you realize I didn't really want that rule there. So lots of things you can do with conditional formatting. The main thing I did, shows those numbers, I applied a rule, chose the number based on its contents, that the cell was greater than a particular number of 70, then I applied some formatting. All right, I'm canceling that because I've already made this rule. So there's your conditional formatting, something that will come back in practice, but a very useful thing, and you see very often in Excel spreadsheets, especially like totals or what their balance is. If someone's balance is negative, you automatically will have something applied that says, wait a minute, pay attention to that one. So that's the big thing in this chapter, is that conditional formatting. And they spend a little time in the book about all the operators available to you in that conditional formatting. And now we're going to come back and adjust our column widths to make sure things fit nicely. Yes?
So I accidentally clicked on some of the email addresses, and when the colors change,
Uh-huh.
how do I fix that?
Oh.
I tried fixing it, and it did for a little bit, and then I clicked in the row
Yeah.
again, not even on it, and it changed the color.
Change the color. I think that's something automatically happening, that it will visit it. It thinks like you're going to email, and then I cancel that, or let's see, can I cancel that? It wants to open mail, and it won't let me go. If I hit escape, it lets me go, and it leaves it colored as though I visited it. Yeah, don't worry about that. That is an effect of Excel, how it deals with email addresses, it looks like. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. If you click on an email and it changes color, really, we really don't want decoration here, unless we're using this as a live document. If we're just going to use the hard copy, it doesn't matter if they're underlined, and it probably would want to remove the underline for the emails like that. But so I wouldn't worry about that. You can leave them underlined or not, because if I want to send this, it may be convenient that I'll open the default email program. But yeah, it'll leave the color because it indicates that that's been visited. Very much like a website link in documents. They'll change color if you visit it on websites. So checking our numbers here, we've adjusted the tax percentages. We've adjusted the net pays. It looks like we're in pretty good shape here. Oh, then they start adjusting some column widths. They demonstrate the automatic column adjustment, or setting specific widths or heights. For example, they chose columns D, E, and I to have specific width. So I click on column D, control click column E. Oh, wait a minute. Column D, control click column E, and control click on tax percent column. If I know I want a specific width for those, I can click and start dragging left and right until I see an actual width of exactly 10.5 show up. Or I can right click column width and specify exactly 10.5 in my column width. If I know exactly what width I want, I can type it. Usually when I'm adjusting it, I will just drag it by sight. But notice all three get, since I have them all selected, right click column width lets me set exactly, just for those particular columns, the exact column width. I can type in that number, and that's a number in what they call points, or 89 pixels. Now I can do the same thing on a row height. We would like to adjust this row. If I zoom out a little bit, we would again like to separate the table a little bit from our title. So I can adjust the row 3 height by dragging, or if I want a specific height, I can right click on that row and go to row height and give it a specific height of, I'll say 50. Pulls my total row down a little bit. Now I could see that 50 just by dragging it up and down. If I can't get to 50 accurately because of my mouse accuracy, I can right click and give it a specific height. So dragging sometimes can get you there. The right click row height gets you there exactly. You can't specify pixels though. Let's do the same thing for total, for the numbers below here. Highest and lowest and average. I'm just going to do this by hand. Drag the border for highest. Separate that out a little bit. The statistics, just a little space separation from the numbers above. And there you have, I think that's about all they're doing in the formatting part. They do the row height, the column width. Oh, and now let's, as we finish up here, let's now check our spelling. It doesn't show you spelling. It hasn't auto-fitted the dependents. Let's go ahead and double-click the border of column C just so that word dependents doesn't get cut off. If we want to make sure everything auto-fits, I could do a select all and auto-fit, but that would ignore the exact row or column width that I've set for specific ones. Most of the time, I'm happy with the auto-fit that Excel does. To do the spelling check, that would be under the Review tab. And I can check the spelling there. It doesn't like Pittsfield. We're going to ignore that. That was the only question it had about somebody's name. Not sure why it didn't stop on all those other formal or proper names. Keep checking. Club Port, ignore that. Oh, now it's catching other names. Yep. I thought it would stop on some of the names. There we go. So all it was catching was some names which we're leaving, and let's see if they have us do anything else. They do practice a little bit of printing. We'll do a practice just to demonstrate the printing, because most likely you'll run into this. I'm just going to do the print to PDF, but you can always print to a hard copy. Let's just go through what it would look like to print this. The capabilities you have. Oh, let's do a save here. Haven't done save yet. Let's do a print just to see the printing capabilities. Print. Just for practice, I'm going to do a print to PDF. And normally, I find spreadsheets, I usually find the landscape is a better look. And usually I like to fit it to my page. Here, in the scaling, I usually do a fit sheet on one page. If it gets way too small, I might go with something else. It is showing me pound signs there. I think they will come out into my printout. Maybe I'll test to see, do I get pound signs in the printout? That would be irritating. And I can choose my margins. I'm going to go narrow margins to try to fit it nicely. And just for fun, I'm going to generate the PDF just to see if the PDF actually does have the pound signs in there. So I'm going to now print. With the print to PDF, it wants to ask you, well, now where do I save that PDF? And I'm going to save it to this same folder. Let's see, does it remember the same folder as my file? It feels like it. It's hard to tell though. Oh, somebody decided to print it to the printer. No problem. I'm going to save it to my extra drive just for fun here. It gives me the choice of the name. I'm going to put EX2 practice print. The only reason I'm doing it, I want to see, is the printout going to look nice? And this is something you could do if you want to verify before printing it to paper or sending it to someone. I'm now going to view it. I have to browse over to where I printed it to. And let's see what it looks like. EX2, let's view the details view. EX2 practice print, there's the PDF. And let's see if I get for a result. Yes, indeed. It put pound signs there. Sadly, but even though the pound signs are not there in Excel, it put pound signs there because something happened in the printing. It shrunk the numbers to fit to a page. It shrunk them so much that the number couldn't be printed. So that's kind of odd that they show fine here, but apparently that slight adjustment in size to fit to the page, and it can't fit them. So there's something that you don't find out until you go take out 100 printouts and you send them to your boss, and they get, why am I getting pound signs there? So always review your printouts. Looks good in Excel, but the printing, something messed up on the process to the printer. So let's just review quickly our conditional formatting, because this is something new. Let's just add some formatting here. How about anyone with 0 children, we'll highlight them in green. Or yeah, we'll just highlight them in green. Let's just practice that. So dependents, we'll select through the dependents. Just for practice here, how would we apply conditional formatting? Anyone with 0 dependents will have a border of a light green. I click on the home page, conditional formatting, making a new rule based on the contents of the cell, cells that contain. Here's the rule. Cell value, let's have equal to 0. That's the 0 dependence. Now I'll choose the format of a fill of a, oh, I don't have light green in my color table. I guess I can choose this light green. Or I suppose I could choose more colors. I'll choose that green. That's light enough. Click OK. I won't see the effect until I click OK, and now these two should show up with a background of green. Now there are other conditional formattings you're welcome to play with, but the main thing is you know how to do that one there. Other conditional formattings just for practice. And that's it for Project 2. Project 3 will get a little deeper into some of the formatting, but we're going to be more into goal seeking in the 3rd project. All right, save this here. If you need any help with anything more, we have some time. You can stick around and I can help you with stuff. Otherwise, that is ready to save and upload to populate.